Assalamu alaikum. Welcome back from the ad break. You are still watching Prime Live. Now, we are pleased to do a very, very interesting book review. It's called The Heart to Serve. As you guys can see, it's already, displayed in front of us. But we are welcoming Lebogang Adams, who is an author behind this beautiful book. And he will be, unpacking his novel, The Heart to Serve's journey into the foundation of leadership. Lebogang draws his years of experience as a volunteer, tutor and program coordinator in the NGO and NPO sectors. Now he's going to be providing lessons about leadership that resonate with us all. That's all you have to expect in terms of reading the book itself. But without wasting any time, let's welcome Lebo to the show. Thank you so much for joining us on Prime Live and welcome.
Thank you so much for having me. It's a privilege and honor, and thank you for reviewing my book as well.
Thank you so much. Now, let's speak about what inspired you to actually write this book and the title, The Heart to Serve.
So what inspired me is the journey I came from being an after-school practitioner, a volunteer for so many years. I was surrounded by a lot of great leaders, and they inspired me a lot, and I looked up to them, and they would often give us lessons on how to become better versions of ourselves, better leaders when it comes to our constituencies and the people that we were serving. And so I started to write down all the lessons that they taught us, and I implemented them, and I also wrote down what I learned from implementing those different strategies and those different methods that they taught us. And I started to journal all that I've learned, both in terms of my personal capacity in growing as a leader and in the lessons they taught me. And I put it into what is now the Heart to Serve, which is basically talks about the seven servant principles of leadership. And we've also learned along this journey that every single type of leader or leadership style comes from or is founded upon the foundation of servant leadership. And that's basically going beyond yourself, going beyond your own ambitions and desires, and serving the community that you're serving the nation, and serving other people as well, and helping them before you help yourself.
That's very interesting. Now, there's always, speaking about inspiration, there's always obviously an inspiration behind getting into a certain career. So you mentioned that you've been serving in the NGO, NPO spaces, as a tutor also. But what gave birth to your love for writing and reading?
Oh, that's a beautiful question. I had a very severe condition as a child called the cleft palate, and my first grade teacher encouraged me to read a lot more so that I can be able to overcome that condition, and so that I can be able to overcome the secondary consequences that come with that condition, like having a low self-esteem, having trouble reading, and having a poor self-image. And so I started to get into another world of exploring my talents and my skills through reading. And writing came as a natural, I guess, second consequence from lots of reading. I wanted to write stories and improve on the stories that I was reading, your Harry Potter, all the classic books that they gave us in primary school. So what inspired me to write is overcoming that challenge that I faced, and to possibly tell a good story that will inspire a learner or a child one day.
That is so, it's such a great story that you gave, and that's why I asked, because I know behind writers are very storytellers, right? So there should be a story behind why you got into writing. But you spoke about being or servant leadership.
Yes.
Tell us about what it entails. To you, what does it mean to be a leader that serves people?
Wow, that's very beautiful as well. Um, Servant leadership is basically having to identify a very specific need around you, or with the people that you work with, or the people you associate yourself with, and finding solutions towards that problem. And in the process of finding those solutions, you have to be that person that gathers all the resources, gathers all the people, becomes the glue for everyone, and puts together a specific plan to be able to make sure that that solution is implemented, even if you might not benefit from it. I think that's what servant leadership, how I would define it from my personal experience.
Basically being a selfless leader,
Exactly.
putting others' needs before you. Now, what are the practical ways leaders who are watching right now what are the practical things that they can do to make sure that they actually good leaders and leaders who are servants?
Oh, that's really great. I would suggest that each person will have a self introspection of their skills, their strengths, and weaknesses. I would also advise them to look at what interests them. It would be very beneficial for someone to be in a place where they really feel valuable, they really feel like they have a sense of purpose within that space. And I would also advise them that in identifying their strengths, their weaknesses, their skills, their interests, they have to be able to um, identify which people that they will be able to work with in solving a specific problem,
Yeah.
and making sure they come up with a sustainable plan to solve that particular problem. And they really have to abide by a certain level of morality and integrity, because they'll have access to resources, they'll have access to finances, they'll have access to things that the normal person who isn't in the leadership position has access to. And so they need to be able to check themselves to ensure that they don't put their desires or their needs first before the needs of the people.
That's very impressive. Now, how long did it take you to write this book?
Oh, it took me 3 years. I started during COVID, then I published it in 2023.
And what do you hope viewers or people that will be reading this book will take from it? What impact do you hope it will have on people?
Oh, I'm hoping that it will help people to identify the type of leaders that they are and where they are destined to go, or where they love to be in terms of leadership. We have a lot of challenges as a country, and one of the challenges we have is a leadership deficit, a leadership that has morality and integrity in terms of how things are conducted. So I'm hoping people will be drawn back to a place where, even though they might be called to leadership, but they have to be able to do things in an ethical way, and doing things that have a sense of integrity, and putting the standard of how things are done before they put themselves in that position, before putting their desires or their needs first. They have to prioritize the ethical standards that exist in a particular organization or in a particular country or any community.
That's impressive. Now, do you believe that leadership, I mean, since you've written about leadership and how people can be, servant leaders, do you believe leadership is something that someone can be born with? Or do you think after reading this book, I can just, take on the role?
I think it's a combination of both.
Yeah.
I think some people are, they've got maybe a certain innate, um, they've got like certain character traits that they are born with. Some people are born in a specific family, and they are given, I guess, an opportunity to express their leadership capacity at an earlier age. But I think everyone has an ability to lead one way or another, even if it's leading a family, leading your spouse, leading your children,
Yeah.
your classmates. But I think everyone has that thing of, that specific leadership capacity, even if it's for 5 or 6 people. Yeah.
No, you're definitely right. And I think it also helped us look at leadership from a different angle, because every time we think of leadership, we think of it from like a broad spectrum, like as in being a CEO or a manager. Sometimes looking after your siblings is leadership. So thank you so much for sharing that with us. And after hearing all the beautiful things you've said about the book, I'm sure people who are watching right now want to get their hands on the book. So how do we purchase? What is the process of getting a hold of the book?
Oh, at the moment, all my books are available. It's one-to-one sales. They're not in bookstores yet. So people would have to contact me or reach out to me on all social media platforms. It's Lebogang with a G underscore Adams, or contacting us on WhatsApp or via cell phone on 064 214 2072.
I mean, Lebogang, thank you so much for, giving us your time and just for sharing with us your journey as to how you became a writer, and also just writing this beautiful book titled The Heart to Serve. So thank you for your time.
Oh, thank you so much. I'm really humbled and honored.
You are welcome. Viewers at home, that was Lebogang Adams, who was just telling us about his book titled The Heart to Serve, which entails all things about leadership skills and how one can become a servant leader. But without wasting any time, let's go to a quick break. We'll see you right after this.